Welcome back once again to PonyFans Live, brought to you by Lakewood's First and 10 at the corner of Mockingbird and Abrams in Dallas. Also brought to you by Game Day Cloth. Win or lose, love your team. Check out their store at Legacy in the Tollway in Plano, or check out Game Day Cloth for your finest SMU gear anywhere, including your whiteout long sleeve shirts for Saturday's game against Marshall. And PonyFans.com, the oldest, largest, and fastest growing website covering the SMU Mustangs and dedicated to Pony fans everywhere. We are joined by sophomore quarterback Kyle Padron. And again, these numbers are pretty remarkable when you consider that he's really just over 1 year into his career as a starter. He was the MVP of last year's Hawaii Bowl. He is 14th in the country this year in total offense, and he denies that he knows all these numbers. He's 11th in the country in passing yards with 2,745, tied for 10th in touchdowns with 23, and tied with Lance McElhaney, who, I assume you know, won more games than any quarterback in the history of the Southwest Conference with 33 career touchdown passes. Granted, it's a different system, but those are pretty amazing numbers to be just over a year into your career as a starter. But like we did with JT, I want to go back to Honolulu the day before Christmas. And when people watched you destroy their defense, it's easy to forget how new at this you really are. I mean, you took over the starting role halfway through last year, and in high school, you only played 6 games as a starter?
Started 6.
Started 6. You're still a rookie at this stuff. How comfortable are you now?
I feel like I'm getting better week by week. I know that this offense is pretty big process and a lot to handle, but I think I'm getting better each week. And with our coaching staff and the players around me, with all the playmakers we have, Al and Bees and DJ, so it makes it a little bit easier on me. And with the way Zach Line's running, it makes it a little bit easier to handle.
You mentioned your coaching staff, and obviously you play for a head coach in June Jones and a quarterbacks coach in Dan Morrison, whose success with quarterbacks is very well documented. I mean, they are all over the NCAA record books. But in high school, you played for a high school coach in Todd Dodge, who also has cranked out some pretty good quarterbacks.
Right.
Before you, it was his son, Riley Dodge. Before that, it was Greg McElroy, who's now at Alabama. Right. Chase Daniel, who played at Mizzou, now with the New Orleans Saints. Talk about the difference in, I guess, their coaching styles, their teaching styles, and the way practices are run under Coach Dodge and now under Coach Jones.
Coach Jones, he's more of an NFL coach. With all the NFL experience he has, we don't go full pads very often, and I mean, it's very relaxed. We do have those 10 plays where we go team, 10, 15 plays at each practice, and that's where, like JT said, it's a lot of controlled violence, and you get after it a little bit, but when we go scout team and 7-on-7, it's really calm, relaxed, and there's not any yelling on the field, with the exception of Coach McKnight and maybe Coach Herring every now and then. But
right.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of yelling, no whistles on the field, and they do a lot of teaching in the film room. So I think I learned better that way, and it's just it's a fun program to be a part of, and I'm excited about it.
It's not controlled violence for you. You get to wear a red jersey. Nobody's allowed to touch you, right?
My red jersey keeps me protected and keeps me healthy throughout the week.
All right, with Coach Morrison, every time I've interviewed him about quarterbacks, ever since he and the rest of Coach Jones' staff have been here, you almost can't get him to talk about specific throws that you made. He talks about the process that you go through, the decisions that you have to make. And so for the non-quarterbacks watching this, which is everyone, what does that mean? What does he mean when he talks about the process you have to go through on a play-by-play basis?
Just as a passer, I mean, throwing the ball has nothing to do with your arm. It's all about your eyes and your feet work. And I mean, throwing the ball, you have to have some arm strength and some accuracy, but he talks a lot about the eye concentration, which is a big thing he focuses on, and keeping your eyes on your receivers, and not focusing on the DBs and the linebackers or anything, but just staying focused on your receiver, staying focused on the target you're trying to throw at, and just staying focused with that, and then your feet, keep them popping at all times, never want to stand still in the pocket, and just stay focused on all those things while you're making your reads.
I mean, he almost makes it sound like the throw itself is really kind of secondary. As long as you're making the right reads and the right decisions, he's going to be pleased even if the ball hits the turf?
Yeah, I wouldn't say pleased.
But
pleased is the wrong word. But as long as I'm making the right reads, he has confidence in me and JJ as well as the other quarterbacks to make the throws in the games and throughout the practices.
All right, you hear, going over to your brother's sport, in baseball you hear managers and players talk about the second time around, whether it's a pitcher facing a lineup for the second time or a rookie facing a team for the second time through the American League, the National League. You're now going through your second time around. Mm-hmm. You've seen Tulane twice, Tulsa twice, UTEP, Houston. How has that gone in terms of, how much of a benefit have you gotten by having seen these defenses before, either knowing how fast a defensive end is or a linebacker is coming off the edge, or even knowing their schemes and the way they try to disguise what they're doing to you?
Playing a team the second time is definitely a lot easier, and I mean, with the situation right now with Marshall, they got a new head coach, and so they're doing a little bit different system this year, and so that would be a little different approach for us this year. And with that DN you were talking about, he does have a lot of speed off the edge, and but our offensive line's going to play great. Got full confidence in them, and I just got to take care of my part, and they're going to take care of theirs.
But doesn't it help the defense too, now that they've got some film on you, and some of these guys have seen you and maybe even hit you before?
I like to think I'm a little bit better than what I was last year when we played at Marshall, so I guess it benefits us both.
In interviews this season, you've used the word consistency. You're moving the ball up and down the field all day, but you haven't gotten into the end zone as efficiently as I think you would like. Yeah. What do you look at or what do you and Coach Jones and Coach Morrison talk about in film sessions, in position meetings, out on the practice field to try to get that efficiency up and turn into an offense where by the time you get down into the red zone, you're going to start getting into the end zone more often?
On Sundays when I come in and watch film with Coach Morrison, we talk a lot about the missed opportunities. And there's been, I mean, pretty much in every game, 2 or 3 little things that I've done wrong, and little plays that can be changed, and where I place the ball, and if I place it on his outside shoulder, he can turn outside, get upfield. And there's just little things that we got to get better at every single day in practice, and just making plays as receivers, O-line keeping me up, and me making the tough throws.
Quarterbacks are a little bit like head coaches in the sense that when you win, your name's going to be in the headline. When you lose, your name's going to be in the headline. You're going to get a lot of credit, and you're going to get a lot of blame. And so you're always going to have people who think you're great and always have people who think you could do better. Since you know better than anyone what Coach Jones expects of you and what Coach Morrison expects of you, how would you evaluate your performance this year?
I think it's been up and down. There's been some games where I think I could have played a little bit better and put my team in a better situation to win games, and there's been some games where I played pretty well, and I mean, I did put my team in a situation where we could win and not turn the ball over, and there's a few games that we lost late where I turned the ball over late, whether it be a fumble or interception, and you just can't do those things as a quarterback, and got to help lead my team to victory.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we've done the background stuff on these guys, but when we come back, there's a very big game on Saturday afternoon against Marshall. If SMU wins, the Mustangs are bowl eligible for the second year in a row. After the break, JT's going to join us again. This is PonyFans Live.